Every reporter changes the story. Just like every scientist changes what he's observing, every reporter is changing that story.
What are we doing, Joe?
About ready to put a plastic catcher in the water. A troll for plastic.
What in the hell is that? There's a misconception that the worst kind of spill is the thing, the gooey, oily mess.
Yeah.
Where it's really these nice little bits of your plastic bottles that are going to be around forever, basically.
So we're just on the outskirts of the gyre right now. Haven't really even gotten into the thick of things, and already in the last hour, we've seen more fucking trash float by than we have in like the entire voyage up till now. We're nowhere near land, we're nowhere near any other fucking ships, and it's just Flotsam City out here. All fucking plastic, too. All gross, sun-baked plastic. It's absurd.
Just this one chemical, bisphenol A, that is used to make these hard, clear plastic called polycarbonate, is produced at over 7 billion pounds a year, and it's a non-recyclable plastic. What's happening to it? It's being thrown away into the environment. The evidence from Europe, Asia, the United States, is that every person examined has these chemicals in their bodies. There is actually a study in Japan where women with elevated levels of bisphenol A were the women who were repeatedly miscarrying, never able to have a successful pregnancy. When you go out into the ocean and you see that the ocean is full of these plastic products, where in the world is there not exposure to them?
Tell me when. Ready?
All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay, you're rolling?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Thomas Morton. We're here in Long Beach, California, on our way to meet Charles Moore, who's the captain of the oceanographic research vessel Alguita. For a number of years, we've been reading these articles about this just huge section of the ocean that's essentially a floating landfill. 10 years ago, on a sailing trip back from Australia, Captain Moore took a detour into a section of the North Pacific called the North Pacific Gyre, which is kind of a swirling vortex of currents. That area has sort of historically acted as a collecting point for all the debris, and sometimes referred to as the Eastern Garbage Patch. Now, kind of with the advent of plastics, it's just become one large, continuous sort of dump. When Captain Moore found it, it was just plastic bags and bottles and consumer products as far as the eye can see. Like some places have estimated it as like the size of Texas. There's a lot of what sounds like hyperbole, and some people have written it off totally as just like an urban myth. So we're gonna go out with Captain Moore on his boat to survey the damage out there. I've never been on a boat, and I've been kind of boning up on my knots and swimming lessons and all. It's a 3-week trip, a week to get out there, a week of taking samples and hanging out with all the trash, and a week to get back. We are going to act as crew. It's Jake, our camera guy, Meredith, producer. We are one half of the crew of the ORV Alguita on our way to Garbage Island.
Captain Moore?
Hi, I'm Thomas.
Nice to meet you, Thomas.
Good to meet you.
Good to have you. Come on aboard. Come on aboard. We've got some people for you to meet here.
All right, welcome.
Hello.
Come on in. Welcome aboard.
We do have a freezer on this side, and we can put a couple gallons of ice cream in there.
Ice cream seems to be a high priority for you.
Well, it's like that's a treat, you know, because it's a dry boat. I usually give you 1 day in the gyre because it's so calm, and we've been working so hard for so long, where we just put out the sea anchor and stop. And if you want to get pissed, you know, go ahead. You know. You know. But mostly when you're on watch and we're working, you know, it's a dry boat.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I know that you don't have much experience. But
too much.
do you know whether or not you get seasick?
I have in the past, but
Okay, so you're going to probably want the patch,
I
at
might.
least to get started.
I'm about to get my scopolamine patch to help keep down the seasickness, hopefully. This is the same stuff that Colombian gangsters use to knock people out.
The one thing you want to be careful of is if you touch it, don't touch your eyes, because
That's okay. I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna try to imagine what that would do. I'm just not gonna do it.
We haven't really done anything. We loaded up the boat, and since we're going to be at sea for 3 weeks, and then this boat's going to be in Hawaii for a ways of time, and then coming back, so they're just making everything super tight.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Last voyage, nobody survived. Hi, my name is Joe Goodman.
What do you do, Joe?
I'm a physician in Fresno, California. I work with crazy people. I don't know if you know Captain Moore, but the guy is an extremely good cook.
That's what we've read.
So don't hesitate saying, hey, by the way, this is on film, too. I love the man.
Seems it so far.
He also will keep a little distant to all of us. I mean, he'll bark at me, too. If I'm not moving fast enough, he's going to say something. So
Yeah.
don't take offense to it. He just, you know, safety is number one on his boat. Everyone comes back healthy, happy, and enjoyable, and nobody has any problems.
And then you cross over and then come through.
We're preparing to leave, you know, to leave and not see land for 3 weeks. I trust the captain. He knows what he's doing. Right? Smells like cat piss.
Empecé con el trabajo de los plásticos en el 2003-2004 porque Charlie ya me había ofrecido muestras para analizar. Entonces dije, bueno, vamos a tratar a ver qué pasa con los plásticos. Porque hay realmente concentraciones altas de estos contaminantes en los plásticos. Y los fragmentos sí es un gran problema porque entonces los animales los están ingiriendo.
Now here's the seagrass and all this plastic. This is the pre-production plastic pellet here. These pellets are the virgin material that have never been through the hands of a consumer. They're just what the factory uses to make plastic objects out of, whether it's a plastic bag or a coffee cup. They get here by being lost in the rail yards and the truck delivery docks. It's a symbol of the whole plastic production chain, how it pollutes from the very beginning when it's just in this pellet form up to these bottle caps. We may get up to, say, 50% of some water bottles recycled, but none of the caps are getting recycled, not at the present time. She's on the phone. Soon there will be no phone. It will be all work and no play.
I think from first impressions, we're gonna have kind of a family cruise vibe on this trip. Captain Moore is obviously the kind of the no-nonsense dad. He sort of reminds me of the dad from Freaks and Geeks a little. Joe's the wacky uncle. Lorena's the Mexican scientist aunt. And I guess we're the slightly grown kids.
Oh, did you all right? You just clock yourself?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, here we go. Gwen, we got Gwen on the stern line. We got Parker on the bow.
I don't know if it's like California or being in a marina. It's really hard to distinguish between whether people are being friendly or dickheads, or are just kind of like so sun-basted their brains are done.
You know, it's funny to even consider that there are places in the world that are 7 days away. You know, like I mean, even like flying to Hawaii from LA or whatever takes what, like 8 hours, 8 or 9. And yet this is gonna be 7 days away.
Here he is. He's coming up right here.
There we go. Oh, this might be the final one. Look at the bin.
Tell you, if he circles around, I'm putting my wetsuit on. Yeah, I've swam with the orcas. I'm not afraid. The orcas aren't afraid of me. I'm not afraid of them. They can take me if they want to today.
It's just water now.
There's not even any boats.
Nope. Nothing on the radar, on the radio. Just us.
I don't know, like I got a little twinge of anxiety last night where I was like, holy fuck, we are on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
I'm not even close to the middle yet.
Yeah.
I can still see land.
What made you want to come?
First, I've always wanted to be in the North Pacific. I've never sailed this area before. Also, I wanted to know about the plastic garbage problem. There's so much that individuals, you know, they get inundated, and yet something really significant like the gyre, nobody knows about it. I mean, if we didn't have this boat and some other people, who would ever tell us about it? It's the middle of nowhere. Why would it affect us? It's the middle of nowhere. We don't see it, and if you don't see it, it doesn't exist.
Where can you really see a huge expanse of nothing? What's the biggest thing most people ever see that's really open and unencumbered, like a desert scene, or... But still, it's very finite compared to the ocean.
How much garbage do you think is in the ocean?
I think there's 100 million tons minimum. 100 million tons minimum. We're all guilty. There's no guiltless parties here.
What'd you get?
Whoa! I busted out the ship's jelly guide and managed to hit the right page. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I went to the glossary to look up manubrium because I was a little unclear on what that was. And thankfully it lays it straight for me. The manubrium is a variously shaped pendant subumbellular gastrovascular cavity in medusae bearing a terminal mouth. Of course.
It really is amazing how similar plastic looks to the jellies. I just thought I swam up to it thinking it was a jelly. It's crazy.
You go to the Subway and you buy the one sandwich. They always put in a plastic bag.
Yep.
Yes. How long do you use this plastic bag? 1 minute? Maybe
Yeah,
yeah,
about.
because you go pay and sit in your table and throw away. And this plastic bag go to the ocean and stay more than 20 years.
Every product needs to have a well understood by the general public end. You can't just say it's the consumer's fault. You know, you got to have a place for it to go. Right now, plastic has no end game. You're done with it? Well, which bucket do I throw it in? You know, there's no end game. You know how to roll sushi, right, Marilyn?
I've done it before. I don't know what kind of status that is.
Isn't it a little ironic that on a trip out to see the damage plastic's doing to the ocean, almost all the food that we need for the trip has to be kept in plastic?
Quite sure. All of us during this trip have contributed plastic to the ocean. Not wantonly, but helplessly. With all the plastic we have, we can't help it. This idea that, you know, we're going to have all these pristine products made of plastic one after another and open all day long. It's like Christmas every day. You're being fooled. You know, what about an orange? That has its own wrapper. What about head lettuce? Romaine lettuce. You just pick off the outer leaves. You don't need a wrapper. There's a million things that don't need this bullshit.
What is that?
Some sort of pod fruit.
What is
Banana flour.
A banana flower.
We're going to have this for dinner. Name Yoho Renge Kyo. All the religions gotta go.
It's kind of hard to remember what day it is. And all you're doing is like sitting on a boat. We've been having kind of shit luck with sailing winds, so been running the motors the whole time, and now we need to refuel. Have to run hoses down into the tanks from those little nozzles on top. I guess it's kind of ironic that we're here on this environmental tour of the place. Nature won't even give us the winds we need not to pollute her with diesel fumes.
Can you imagine this is full of vegetable oil?
So you're planning on converting your engine. Do you have how soon you think you're going to be able to do that?
As soon as I can identify sources in foreign ports where I'll be traveling.
Ah.
Looks like a pirate a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah. Aye, mate! Take her up another 5 inches, mate!
So we just stopped, and Lorena's gonna take her first samples. We're just gonna see what the plastic content in this water is, and see if we can catch a couple pieces. Like, it's literally what you'd expect. There's like beakers and funnels, some sort of weird like handheld microscope looks like. This is nerd heaven.
Thomas,
yes.
Could you give me one column, whatever column that you want?
From the freezer? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
La idea principal es filtrar el agua de mar y tomar todos los sólidos suspendidos y analizarlos. Entonces el análisis que yo voy a hacer es la extracción total de lo que está en el agua de mar. Puedo decir que esa es parte de mi control de calidad. Y también la idea era poder ver si podía jalar microplásticos.
Lorena was kind of explaining to me earlier a little bit of her equipment, some sort of solution that's gonna somehow indicate the presence of plastic particles, polymers in the water, so that you can get a rough estimate of what the exact polymer count is.
Wherever there's little areas of collection, you see this stuff filling them up. And historically, these places were places where nutrients accumulated and debris had nutrient value. It was biodegradable. Now we're covering up with a suffocating layer of non-gas permeable plastic with toxics attached to it.
And you put your hand in here, you can feel some of the hard objects of plastic. It's kind of interesting.
The difference between organic trash and synthetics is, whereas the organic stuff kind of biodegrades, plastics, they just break down into individual polymers. So as small as they keep getting, it's still the same plastic. It's every part of a Coke bottle busted down into a little digestible morsel.
What we say is we sweat the small stuff, and what we're doing with Lorena is trying to get down to what we can't see. No one's tried to find microplastics in the marine environment. What is it doing to these jellyfish? When we pull up globs of plastic and globs of jelly all mixed together, what's going on there?
jostled Thomas out of bed for the sunset. Is this one maybe on the top 5 things that you've ever seen?
I've seen some things.
Have you seen the moon on the other side? Let's go check that out. I'm bored.
Meredith, let's see your point. Bring your point out a little to the right. All right, ready? Turn back and look at the camera.